I myself do not show emotion as readily as maybe people would expect. I noticed that people that I love, friends specifically, would be like, she's fine. She went through that, but she's fine. People would probably think I'm going through this divorce like, she got it, she good. Nothing really bothers her. So I started going out of my way to let people know what I'm going through when I'm going through it, even though they can't offer me shit. I'm not doing it for them to help me. I'm doing it because it helps our relationship. They can offer a kind word, or at least they're able to see the humanity in me and not see me as just this cold-blooded killer kind of thing. Like, I'm solutions-oriented too. I don't like to bring things to people when they can't help me, but I notice that was to the detriment of my relationships. When they feel like they can't offer anything to help me, I'm only coming to them when I got everything solved. As a woman, it's a whole lot easier to see, because most men don't want a woman that doesn't need anything. That makes a person feel as though, what place do they have in your life? Women feel the same way, especially because we are nurturers. When we see our dude like going through it, like, we want so badly to be there for them. Even if nothing is going right in the world, it's nice to feel like you can just come and cry on somebody's shoulder, and we want to be that for them. But we don't know that if you come to us after you already figured the shit out. You know, like, there's a level of intimacy that you're never gonna reach if you don't take the time to share before you figure that shit out. Please tell me I moved the needle a little bit.
I was really gonna say we can agree to this.
Even in that, I think it still does a lot to just be like, hey, I'm going through this. I'm about to go to this person, whatever, and just, you know, rap with them about it or something. But because what it does is not about having this person solve your problems. It's about letting them in to see the full you. Because even if they can't solve that problem, they might be able to do some other stuff in the background that helps you while you're trying to get that done. Like just knowing what the fuck you're going through. Not knowing what buttons to push, what buttons not to push, what ways that they can
push whatever button you want to push.
Not if they love you like that.
They still gonna push whatever button they choose to.
Who hurt you?
The world, man.
There are better ways, and again, not everybody is quite there yet, but I think that's still like the goal. Like, if I know that my dude is going through something, it's a financial thing, and I'm not gonna be like, quit your job, baby, I'll take care of you. But I can be like, hey, we can cut expenses somewhere, or hey, no matter what happens, I got you. If you lose your job today, we're gonna take care of things together. Like, I got your back. You know, like, I can't take your load off of you, but I can at least lessen some of the burden. Let's make sure that you understand that I'm here with you. I'm here for you. If I can do anything, I got you. Or I can be on the lookout for solutions, even if it may not be the thing that you want. Like, at least you know I'm out there scouting for something. Who knows? It might work out. I know that it's definitely worked out in the past. Like, you'd be surprised the resource that a woman can be, because we are nurturers. We want to be able to care for you in the way that you need to be cared for. Like, y'all are providers, but we are here for your soul, your heart. Like, we want to be that for you, and we can do so much for you if you allow us to be there in that way. Even if we can't, still go to your homeboy, but let us know you're dealing with something, and then go talk to his ass. And guess what? That'll be the day that we know, all right, he's going through this. Let me make sure I do this. The things that I know that he likes, that'll comfort him in this moment. Even if I can't take the pain away, the frustration or the stress away, like, I can be on my best behavior at the very least. You know, I understand the angle that he's coming at me from. Like, I'm trying to get you to see, like, she'll be there for you.
I definitely understand. Because it's just what my thought process, and what is just like, it's like, she's a loaded gun, right? And she's ready to defend or attack or whatever the case may be. Just in how I operate, is I would like, if you're going to use that energy for me, I'm going to direct it to where it's the most efficient in a situation or the situation. Because a lot of times, just from past experience, like, you might share, and just like, you're just like, oh man, I'm just going to, And then a lot of things, it's like, okay, yes, that's wonderful. I looked at that, but it's not. Okay, I did, but it's
not really making me feel better.
Or
really
that's not the direction, because this is what it'd be. So then it's just like, if, let's say, you bring 10 things to me and I've already looked at 9, and now I have to sit through and have these conversations with you. And I don't have no problem having this conversation with you, but in the grand scheme of things, now I am taking the time where I could have been putting that energy, or I could have diversified where you did. We're doing the same work. So is it really benefiting the end goal? If every time we sit down without directing that, this nurture and energy that you have in a direction to where this is the lane that you're in, rather than now we have to be like, now we're butting heads because everything you brought to me I've already looked at, or everything I thought about that, because I'm not saying that everything is, but what if I've already set that time aside and I've gone through, and now you're starting from where I was when I first thought about it, and moving through all the same channels, just because if we're together we have some similarities in thought. Not saying everything's gonna be the same, but then it's just like,
I feel like you wasted. To me, that just sounds like you're not leading well.
What do you mean?
Because I think of it like a boss. And that situation is what I feel like when so I'm brought on a team, right? And that's what happens when they operate on a need-to-know basis. They tell me what they think I need to know. So I have this much information. And so I'm over here, I'm working hard, and I think I'm doing all the stops. I'm telling you all the things that you did already, but I had no idea because you only told me what you felt I needed to know.
The only reason why I say it's different is if I'm going to release you in a direction because of the relationship that we have, and if we're to that point, then I already know that I can depend on whatever you bring, right? So if I have, let's say there's 20 things, right? If I take these 10 and I give them my energy and I'm going to be like, okay, take all that and you go research these 10, then I know I don't have to worry about that. But what I'm saying is, if it's in the beginning stages, right? Let's say something happened on Tuesday and I'm still processing, but I started on Tuesday and I tell you on Wednesday. And I've already, from Tuesday to Wednesday, have continued my research or my solution problem solving, right? And so then I tell you on Wednesday, and then we talk about it on Thursday, right? If I have already started to
process and
go, you will, from the time I told you, being the type of person that you are, you're going to dive in head first and be like, let's see what we can find, right? And then that's what I mean, where now potentially we're looking at all the same things, not saying because you have known me for a while, so you say, this is something he could be good at, this is something he might be interested. Whereas I might have did that right when I found out the information on Tuesday. I just went through that list and just knocked all this stuff out.
I still think it's leadership. Because I think that, for one, if you know the skill set of your girl, she knows that too. That's a discussion that can be had. Like, y'all can even talk about how y'all want to go through these kind of seasons or whatever the case may be. You can, hey, I'm going to think about this and I want you to think about this. If your girl is one that is more solutions oriented, that's going to spitball like solutions with you, she needs to be brought in on Tuesday when it first happens to you, because you need to harness that skill. A leader knows how to harness the skill set of that person.
Right, but that's why, but for me, I said I'm going to shoot it in a direction that I'm not going in, so that I can have that same understanding that the type of person who's looking, these are things that I might overlook because that's not my number one, my number two. So if I give you my 3 and 4, you might find the gem in that group that I might have just overlooked. That's why I say, if I'm going to take that energy, I'm going to direct it rather than just let it be a free-for-all. Because then if it's a free-for-all, I might have gone over 40 things and now you have 35 to 40.
If you know your partner, and first of all, like, the one difference in this scenario than a job is y'all are more like partners than you are employee and subordinate kind of thing. Like, you can still be a leader on that team, but you're operating as though this person should be in the know. I'm not treating them like low-level staff that don't need to know anything but what I tell them. So I think that, because the reason I say that is men and women have strengths that we can benefit from the other. And when we assume that this is how this person's going to be used best, so I'm not going to tell them any other thing, we miss out on opportunities to really glean from that other person. When we say, he don't know nothing about this, we'd be surprised. We often are surprised by how much you guys can contribute. That doesn't mean that you need to say we're going to have a powwow, but it's, hey, this is what I'm doing. You know it when I know it, so that way you can go ahead and interject in the process. And then if we go down the road and we've done this argument 7 times, we realize, all right, this is not something that you're into. More than likely, because people, like, you operate in your gifts, you operate in your skill sets. The things that you like to do are the things that you're typically good at. Most people are not enjoying doing shit that they're not good at. So if you're talking about a woman that is spitballing solutions, she's doing that because she's obviously getting shit done in other aspects of her life, other areas of her life. If she's not, more than likely she's not the one that's trying to give you solutions. She's like, let him figure that shit out. I'll be here with this when he comes back. It's usually what they're good at that they're trying to offer to you. And it sucks when a dude is like, I got this. You go over there and sit down. When more than likely, she can offer so much to you, the same way you can offer so much to her in the things that you are skilled at and gifted at. And if you're not able to say she can do what she's actually trying to do, what she's probably good at, then you're probably dismissing a lot of her greatest qualities. And that also sucks, because she's like, I would love it if he understood how fucking good I am right now at this, how much I could help him in this space and in this capacity. If she's not good at it, she ain't good at it. And y'all can have that conversation. But most of the time, again, I'm not out here being like, let me cook you Thanksgiving dinner if that's not my skill set. I'm not out here, let me figure out the answer to this if I am not solutions oriented. Like, no, you go ahead and do that. I'll be like, people are usually excited to work in what they're gifted at. I didn't move the needle down.
I'm listening, and I don't know, I think we're having 2 different conversations, because I'm not discrediting her ability to do whatever she does, right? I'm saying, if, depending on the level of partnership, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, if I'm going to use that energy, I'm going to direct it rather than just have it all over the place. And that's just it. That's just me. If I feel like you can be beneficial, I'm going to take that and I'm going to harness it. I'm not going to just have 1,000 volts shooting all over the place, because that can cause damage, as well as, it can be beneficial. But if I want to plug it in so that the power goes in this direction, boom, then you have free range to be your best, amazing, most gifted self in that area. And then if I then say, this is what I found, then I'll have your same gift to look through what I found, and I can look through what you found. Because it blows me that one of the things that you said or alluded to was that it's almost like a slight to where I'm not being able to be my best self if I don't bring you in right away. Because let's use the Thanksgiving, right? Mm-hmm. If I find out, boom, my grandma was going to cook for Thanksgiving. It's Monday. All the stuff is, all the food is bought, but she broke her wrist. Mm-hmm. She can't cook, God forbid. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I know you don't, that's not, even if that is your strong, let's say you don't cook, right? I'm going to take the time to, okay, there's Auntie Shireen. There might be, I can bring in somebody. Okay. Boom. Hey. Mine ain't gonna be able to cook this year for Thanksgiving. I have 6 people that, they might be willing to, what you think? You know what I'm saying? That does not lessen what you're able to bring to the table, because I didn't say, hey, Mom can't cook, what do you think? And now, we're trying to pull names out of the hat. Because I might be like, my family is Caribbean. I'm going to have to find a Caribbean cook because this is how we eat the food. You're not Caribbean. You might not have the same kind of Caribbean connect. You might know the names of the people, so then you could be like, you know, her mac and cheese was really good that one time, so we can get her and do these things. So that's just how, I mean, like, I would direct the energy. But it was almost like, because it wasn't brought in right away, it's like, oh, I'm being slighted.
Because to me, like, that same scenario, as soon as you find out about grandma's wrist, you can be like, shoot, all right, grandma's wrist is broken. I got to find somebody else to do. I'm thinking maybe this person. Maybe, like, she can help in that conversation. Like, you don't have to think about 6 people by yourself.
But what if you just naturally do? And then I'm not excluding you. I'm bringing it to you and saying, hey. And then even then, I might have a direction and you can be like, what about... Oh, I didn't even think about her and add her to the
Well, that's
list.
what I'm saying. That's what she would be brought in as soon as you know. While you're thinking about those 6 people, like, just thinking out loud. Again, it's the dynamic of... It's the mindset of a partner versus, like, a superior. Like, you're bringing this in because you understand that this person has just as much... like value added as you do in your brain. Like, you just never, because the thing about what you said prior to that is you're going to direct the energy if you feel that they can contribute, as opposed to what about all the things that you don't know about that this person can contribute, that you are basically shutting out because in your mind this person can't contribute to this based on your assessment of their
not
ability.
necessarily that they can't. I just don't think it is efficient to be working behind each other, and that's just all. You know what I'm saying? You have liberty to do whatever you want, but if I'm going to say we're at a fort, I'm going to give my energy to the right, you're going to give your energy to the left, we're going to go 100 paces, and then we're going to meet, and then we're going to talk about everything that we've met, because now I have the opportunity to see everything on the left, you have the opportunity to see everything on the right, and then we can talk about it.
So can you be like, hey, this is the problem, this is the scenario, how about you go and handle this while I handle this? Done.
But that's the same thing.
No, the difference is you communicated it, so I don't feel as though, like, I get what you're doing over there, and I get that you're handling that, and I'm going to let you handle that. If I decide I have something to contribute, I might say it, but sparingly, because I know that you're handling that, and I'm handling this based on what you decided how you want to handle the situation. It's different than coming back and being like blindsided. Oh, I didn't realize somebody was handling that. Oh, I didn't realize that was handled. Like, that's what I think it comes down to is men thinking, not men thinking, because it's warranted that you guys feel this way, but the feeling of everything, you have to do everything. I also don't think that society is built that way anymore. I think it's a lot harder for one person to do everything. And I think that we would benefit from saying, hey, this is what I got going on. I'm going to handle this. Can you take care of this part for me? Or, hey, I asked you to take care of this part for me, but this is actually getting pretty heavy. I might need to find somebody else to do it. I'm going to be looking for someone to take care of this. If you have any suggestions, great. You know? Letting them in on the process.
The only response that I would have to that is that I would disagree in saying that it doesn't work like that anymore. Because prior to any guy finding a partner and then dealing with a partner and then moving forward, you have to be able to take care of everything.
But women are having to do that too. Like being single, that's what you have to do.
Right. It's just, I just think for men, right, that when we're talking about best case scenarios, right? That safety net isn't there as long as, for example, right? My parents moved to this country.
Yeah.
So they had no real knowledge of the country system.
Yeah.
So me and them learned things at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? Being as I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
My sisters were offered a greater net because they were behind me, right? So they had an opportunity. So after my parents learned it, then they could apply that,
correct,
right? And not just saying that it's that way because we're boys and girls, but even in the sense that when you look at a certain age, where we are looking at men to, oh, you still live with your mom. Not saying that there should be anything wrong with that, because I'm a proponent of being with your family as long as you can until, you know,
when you're choosing to versus when you have to.
And then I'm saying, but whereas my youngest sister, she lived at the house, so she was like 27. No one better than anyone thought. But if I was to be still staying at the house at 27,
if she was American, I don't think that would be the case.
Oh, well, that could also be a thing too.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody after 18, whether you male or female.
And I think that's wild.
It is, but that is like you should be doing something adult like. I know.
Yeah, and so it's just like, I just think I hear, you know, that you shouldn't, but for majority of men, they're single, so they have to be able to carry the entire load of their entire life. And so we still have to. And so when you don't, that's when you get into those scenarios where you're dealing with a woman and you're not being able to communicate, or you're not being able to, you ain't got no money, so she's paying for everything. Like you're, what they say, hobosexual, where you ain't got no house.
Oh, okay.
And so you go and you stay with her.
Okay, that's responsible.
Until they talk about how all these guys take advantage of. No, I'm just. So in my situation, I just think we still do have to take care of everything. So having someone to come in, and then even in that, right? To really trust somebody to where I'm going to play something that I'm actually currently dealing with in your hands, and trust that you're, like, that takes a lot. Both ways, right? And so it's that one time when you knowing that you're supposed to carry everything, right?
Yeah.
That one time you handed something to somebody, and let's say y'all got into it, and then y'all fell out before the completion. Now the ball is dropped, for whatever the case may be. You have to then be like, dang, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like that's trauma from, well, yes. That's fucked up. But I feel like that's trauma that should exist in, like, maybe a friendship. When y'all are together and what the ball that they dropped affects them is, like, at least, I don't know. I know from my experience. Like, my ex and I, we can be fighting on everything. Mm-hmm. But if it's for the good of the home, we put the fight to the side and do what we need to do. Like, right. I'm not going to say that I'm going to help you do the taxes and then be like, well, I didn't like the way you talked to me last night.
No, I just meant, when I was saying that, I just meant, like, let's say, you know, I tasked you with something that I need help with. Yeah. But we fall out and we're no longer together, right?
Oh, like not together at all. Mm-hmm. Oh.
Then that task, for whatever the case may be, let's say it slipped your mind because you had asked them to do it, you didn't check, and then you had to deal with the breakup and yada, yada, yada. So then it's just like...
That's still another excuse. And the reason that I say that is because when you are choosing to love somebody in a relationship, all of that shit's a risk. True. Exposing any of yourself is a risk. And especially coming from the place of a woman, all we do is risk that shit. Especially like everything from my divorce, I risked. I put my job on the back burner. I put my body out to be used for like a pregnancy, which also came to the detriment, or can come to the detriment of my career, my livelihood when he left. It's a risk. You can't plan for that. That's the risk that you're taking on love in this relationship. And I think women are expected to do it all the time. Period. You may not want to.
Your situation might be different.
Sure.
It's interesting that you would say that women put everything at risk because, especially in today's climate and culture, I think that's why you see such an intake of the Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tates, because they're telling men who have seen, everyone's not perfect, but have seen their uncles or grandfathers or even their fathers marry someone, give their life to the family, go through a divorce, and then literally everything. Like he can't see his children, and so it's just especially when the top 10 richest women in the United States got their wealth from divorce. It's like,
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? It's like right now men are taking the risk, and that's why they're choosing not to get married in this current culture. I'm not saying, but that's just my little 2 cents.
I mean, I do I get, believe me, I wholeheartedly understand. I be asking, like, what are support groups for niggas? Because I feel like I'm going through all the shit that a nigga would go through, legitimately. So I get it, but I'm not going to let that fuck up my next, because I don't believe in that. If that's the case, then I'll stay single, you know? But if I'm going to choose to love someone and commit to someone and be in a relationship, not to say that I won't protect myself, but I'm still going to offer myself and still trust in this thing that we're... Oh, bitch, I thought I heard a baby. I was like, is my baby still here? I'm still going to trust wholeheartedly and give my best self to this person. But, like, maybe there's another way to safeguard. Get a prenup. Do whatever you need to do to safeguard it.
I understand.
But still giving yourself... Still opening up, I know. Still opening up yourself to love and be loved really by this person.
I definitely, like I said, I live a transparent life. But I'm a firm believer of fool me once.
Oh, absolutely.
Shame on me, fool me twice. I mean, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Because, you can only fool me one time. And so, even in that sense, it's just like understanding, and that's why I have the ideology that I have now. It's because fool me once, that's all you get. And so I've seen that if you tell somebody something in confidence or from a sensitive place, like a good chance that's going to be brought up. Time and time again, I've seen it. We can be like, everyone's different, sure. But I know there's not one guy that I've met who doesn't have that, has not had that experience in life. And so when you know...
Do guys think that they're the only ones that women don't have that experience too? Because what I'm getting at is...
A real nigga ain't gonna bring it up.
It's not that he's bringing it up like blatantly, but moving in a way that's responding to this.
Explain.
Like, maybe you're not saying, what's a vulnerability that a woman might have? Like, oh, this makes me feel ugly. Maybe it's coming off where it's like, that's your self-esteem.
It is.
Exactly. And that's what I want to get at. When y'all always be like, oh, she brought it back up. Just because you shared your vulnerability to me doesn't mean that I'm leaving you there and that you get stuck in that spot.
So what I mean, right, it's more so like we talk about the song, Kendrick Lamar's song.
Oh yeah.
Where he might have shared something where it's like, okay, and then it's used in a to be like, yes.
Now that's a character. That's
what I mean. But that's what I mean. I have not met a guy who has not had that experience. So when it comes to wanting to then, like if you get bit by a dog, you're going to shy away every time.
I think that y'all got to look for more mature women. Yeah. I swear. Because I swear none of my friends, like my friends have all kinds of shit wrong with them. Myself included. We know the limit.
Let me talk to they niggas.
Yeah.
Let me ask them. That you can know your friends to an extent, but like I said, I haven't met a man. So I can be like, hey, did that happen to you at any point in time? And they're gonna be like, maybe once or twice.
And I feel like y'all remember that other TikTok that you sent me that was talking about they did an experiment with little boys and little girls.
Right.
And they had like a baby crying or something on the phone. I don't know, whatever it was. The little girls went to try to help, and then the boys, like, hung up the phone or something. They turned the machine off. They were like, I don't want to hear the noise. But what they found was the boys were actually more stressed out than the girls were. Correct. Because guys have a lot of emotions. It's just they've never been taught really how to deal with it over time. It's just something... Go ahead.
No, I don't... I just think that is an idea that's out there, but we don't deal with them in the same sense, because a lot of little boys, what they channel, right?
Yes.
If I'm frustrated, if I'm like, I then go and I put that energy or that frustration into something else. Athletes.
Yes. What do you think happens? Do you think that it's like the law of energy? It just transfers and then it dissipates? Like,
what do you mean?
The frustration is still there. You might have gotten over the intensity of it at that moment, but you still have it. It needs to be addressed. Playing basketball does not solve your world. It makes you feel better.
What I mean is, right, what it gives the same as whatever we would if I communicated it, right? In your opinion.
No, if you're talking about if you don't come to a solution.
Not even, because for example, right? You hear all these stories of these athletes whose parents, family member might have died, right? Mm-hmm. And then they go into the game and then they drop the most points that they've ever had.
Yes.
Not saying that once the game's not over, they're not going to then feel whatever they feel. But it's taken that, and that is the tough part, the hard part of it. Yeah. Now I can be like, you know what? I remember whatever they told me, whatever, and now I'm moving in that process.
Yeah.
I don't need to talk about it. I don't need to, because whatever, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I think is crazy, because as a kid, a lot of times, that's what we were, as thinking about me and my male cousins, like, that's what we would have been told, or the men in our lives would have been like, okay, take that and put it into X, Y, and Z. Activity. And so rather than, okay, man, this is how I feel, I'm going to go out and I'm going to practice 1,000 corner kicks.
See, this is why y'all need us. That shit right there. We're not saying that you do that. Go and exercise. I don't want that, because all that is shock. I'm not talking about those feelings. Once you have gotten all that out and you're able to be level-headed and say, all right, this is what I'm processing. That's the conversation.
But that's what I'm saying. You guys focus on the wanting to communicate what I'm processing, and I'm saying being able to do that, right?
Yeah.
Has gotten me to a point where the emotion of it, right? Mm-hmm. The shock, you want to say, of it, to where now it's, okay, my grandma's dead. People die every day. Not to say that I'm not going to miss her, not to say, but, okay, life is going to go on. I'm going to keep her in my heart. That's what she would want. I remember all the things that you hear when people die. And then you go into life as okay. Because even then, grief is going to come in waves. So you're going to have your moments where you might feel it more, but then you're able to get back to life as it's going to be. And that's what I'm saying. It's being able to take that energy to whereas you would be able to communicate about it and talk about it, and then that would help start to get over the shock to then move into the processing point.
That's not what we're looking for.
But what I'm saying for us is once you do that activity and then you allow that release of whatever's on the inside.
That's perfect.
You are able to then move. You don't have to communicate. You're able to then move because it's already...
So this brings me to one of the other questions. What I think that the disconnect is, y'all aren't understanding the purpose of that communication. It is not for this person to solve your problem. It is not. Exactly.
I know it's not. It's not. Never did I thought that it was to solve the problem. I'm just simply saying that it is, in my estimation, just from the things, right?
Yeah.
How it just reverts to how we handle and deal with things completely different, and how we think things are okay to do, right? So I'm not one to be like, no, that's an anecdote, to be like, oh man, this is what's going on, without being able to talk about a solution. That's not me. That allows me, once I can talk about I have an end goal, desired outcome, then I'm going to bring it and allow for critiques or interjections, but I'm not going to bring something prior to having an idea of where I want to go, because then someone could suggest an ending that I didn't necessarily want, and now I'm moving in that direction, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I'm saying is, even when we talk about my feelings and death, right?
Sure.
If I'm really in a place that is low, low vibrational, let's say, okay. It does not do me any good to talk about me being in a low vibrational place. It does me better to, like when my cousin passed, right? Mm-hmm. I think I hit the gym harder that week than I had in a while, because you have so many things running through your mind, and so that allowed me to get all the extra stuff to then say, okay, how do we move forward? She's not coming back. How can I be present in my family's lives moving forward? Because she was 34, 5 when she passed. You know what I'm saying? So then it's now all the crying, the disappointment, the survivor's remorse. It's some of that is still gonna be there, but I'm able to now get back into. I didn't like. That's the first time I'm saying what my process after her death was. Yeah. I hit the gym hard.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? I just did it. Was I talking about it, her, and that week? Not necessarily. I might have been like, you know what I'm saying? I'm, dealing with something. My cousin just passed. You know what I'm saying? That was it. But then it wasn't until afterwards. Like, then it was just like, I can talk about it. Because I've already expressed that initial outburst of influx of emotion in a situation, and I just feel that that's what it is. We can feel that and go do something. Like if I was a painter, go paint 6 pictures and then be like, okay, like I'm ready to turn the page. Not saying that it's not going to affect me or I might not have the moments, but I'm able to then say, okay, boom, we're on to a new day.
I think what you're saying makes sense. But you're thinking of it from the perspective of the individual and not the couple. And that's the transition that every individual needs to make when they're in a long-term relationship. You said something like, it does me no good to talk to this person about this while I'm doing it. Again, it's not about fixing your problem. The mindset is switching to what is for the benefit of the relationship. It's not about fixing your problem. It's about opening the door so this person has a view, a window into what you're experiencing, not to give you contribute advice or solutions, maybe even not even to be there. Maybe it's just enough for them to say, all right, let me go ahead and do what I need to do to give them the space that they need, or just to recognize, oh, this is how they process this when they're going through this. Because it's going to help it's going to help build a level of intimacy that nobody else will have. They're going to feel a connectedness. You're going to feel a connectedness. You're going to feel that you can, and again, this is with somebody that knows how to receive that information or that you can trust. And you do have to still filter when you share, what you share, how you share. That takes building over time. But the goal is to be able to be fully transparent with that person that you are most intimate with. It's just not about what makes you feel better. Not to say that it should be to the detriment of you, but it's like your goal is not, well, this doesn't help the situation. It doesn't help this situation. It helps your guys' situation together by being more open and understanding because they're getting a fuller picture of who you are, how you work, and how to interact with you based on that. When they don't have that, there's so many more missteps that are going to happen because they don't have a full picture of who you are, how you're processing what you're doing. So they're taking things in, and because we're not talking, I'm deducing all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, he's fine, or oh, it didn't bother him, or I myself do not show emotion as readily as maybe people would expect of me or a woman or whatever you want to call it. But I noticed that people that I love, friends specifically, would be like, she's fine. She went through that, but she's fine. People would probably think I'm going through this divorce like, she got it, she good. Nothing really bothers her. Because I don't take so I started going out of my way to let people know what I'm going through when I'm going through it, even though they can't offer me shit. I'm not doing it for them to help me. I'm doing it because it helps our relationship. It makes friends know that I'm not okay, so that they can offer a kind word, or at least they're able to see the humanity in me and not see me as just this cold-blooded killer kind of thing. Like, it's for the sake of the relationship, not for my own individual, because I'm solutions oriented too. I don't like to bring things to people when they can't help me. I'm the same way, but I noticed that was to the detriment of my relationships. That's friendships, let alone romantic relationships, when they feel like they can't offer anything to help me. Like, I'm only coming to them when I got everything solved. Especially as a woman, it's a whole lot easier to see, because most men don't want a woman that doesn't need anything. That a woman that can do all by myself. I got this. I'm not trying to be that, but I process things the same way. But it makes a person feel as though, what place do they have in your life? Women feel the same way, especially because we are nurturers. When we see our dude like going through it, like, we want so badly to be there for them, not in the way that takes the problem away, but the way that is warm and feels like home to them. It makes them feel like they can, at least, even if nothing is going right in the world, it's nice to feel like you can just come and cry on somebody's shoulder. And we want to be that for them. But we don't know that if you come to us after you already figured the shit out. And now you're just like, it's cool. Now we're like, well, I guess there's nothing. Like, there's a level of intimacy that you're never going to reach if you don't take the time to share before you figure that shit out. Please tell me I moved the needle a little bit.
I was really going to say, we can agree to disagree. I was going to say that, because
I thought I was spitting bars.
No, I definitely heard what you were saying. I definitely agree with there being a level of intimacy that can be cultivated. I personally wouldn't hang that area, I wouldn't hang my hat on. Not saying that there weren't times where my last relationship, as long as we were together, like, if I had a bad day, I would go to her.
Yeah.
But it's just since then, in rebuilding with people and trying to, I wouldn't advise it. I wouldn't be like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? Because it's new or it's fresh, or we're still in that developing, like, for all I know, you have the whole world, you know what I'm saying, falling apart. And then here goes me talking about this person at my job who just won't eat their chips, you know what I'm saying, a certain way. And now you just like, you know what, I can't deal with this. And then I was investing all this time and energy, and now it just, you know what I'm saying, so
that's the risk of relationships.
It is.
That's the risk of love.
And so I just say, when you taking the risk, just like the stock market, are you willing to lose this money? Then invest it. Don't invest money you need. So I don't invest. If I'm going to invest, I'm investing in a way that I'm willing. If I lose it, hey,
calculated
you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It is. But I'm not going to try and pour my heart out to somebody brand new.
No, I'm not talking about...
Or somebody who, our relationship is still in the developing stages.
Yeah.
No,
I definitely
it's gotta be like, you know what I'm saying, we've been through the trenches.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's something that you have to build to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you take baby steps, you trust them with a little, see how they handle that. But ultimately, I do think the goal is to be able to be fully transparent. But that's a relationship that needs to be cultivated by both people. It needs to be going both ways. And if that's something that you realize at a certain point that y'all we can't go beyond this level, then you can't go beyond this level.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things like, yeah, it'd be a perfect relationship if the woman did all this, the man did all this. That's never going to be the case, but I still feel like that's the goal. The same way I said about like her Christian relationship. Like, I would love it if I could do this all the time. That's not going to happen, but that's still like the goal. That's still like what I see as ideal. I'm not going to ever be like, don't reach for that. That's what I'm saying. Like,
no. I definitely, even like, and let's just go back. Even when I was telling my sister, like, the goal is to get to a place of open communication to where if you're in current having a bad day, you can say, I'm currently, this is what's going on. I just find it that takes a type of cultivation that is not
Easy.
3, 6, even 9 months into
I'm not even
a situation. I'm talking about that is time spent.
Yes.
And so, I mean, definitely I agree, but right now, I ain't got nobody like that. So I'm just saying, I ain't telling you nothing.
But I would definitely not advise people to not reach for that, is what I'm saying. Like when guys are saying don't share that with your woman, to me is be careful, guard your heart. Like, not everyone is built like that, but that is what you want to cultivate. If you like, that is the type of relationship that you should be seeking, to be able to be open like that, and for her to be able to receive it.
I agree.
She gonna fuck up. You gonna fuck up. That's part of the human process. That doesn't mean count them out. You have discernment. I can't help nobody with that. Like, you got to get that shit right on your own. If you're with a girl that is gonna hear all this stuff, shut you down, and then throw it in your face like the Kendrick Lamar song. Well, at least they did it in the privacy of it wasn't in front of the company. But, like, you have to know the character of the person that you're with as well.
But and this just goes back to, I don't know if we were having this conversation last time we talked, or even after that, but it just goes to what I was saying. Like, a lot of guys get tricked. We get tricked because we think, because she's always putting her best foot forward in certain instances, and then when it's time for the rubber to meet the road, it's like...
I mean, I think that's a human condition, because ain't nobody in relationships with a saint, period. Like, women are thinking the same thing. Like, he was opening doors yesterday, now he don't even get out the car. Like, believe me, the things that were happening during the courting period are typically not happening with the same intensity a year, 3 years down the road. It's just that's happening on men's side and women's side. So y'all not the only ones. There's going to be a level of change that's going to happen. But it's the core of the person that you're hoping you're understanding. Like, I can't say I got it right, so I don't even know. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, I know that you are a decent human being. And that's all I got. There's going to be ways that's going to fluctuate all around it, but I'm hoping that...
something I don't like, and now I'm telling your family and my family how ain't you are. But yesterday, I was decent.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of shit happened since yesterday for me, so... Hey, you act right first, then I'll act right. But that's just the risk that we take.
Consistent.
That's the risk that we take, so... I don't know. Do you have any last things? On vulnerability in relationships as far as men are concerned.
Guys do feel feelings. They go through a lot. And if you want your partner to be able to express those feelings, you have to help cultivate a safe space. And it's not what you consider safe, it's what they consider safe. And so if that's what you want, you have to help. Because like I was saying earlier, every guy thought he had one until he shared something personal and it was thrown in his face. Right? And I'm not saying that then he looks to everyone through that lens. But we're of the mind, if I don't like something to happen to me, I'm not going to do it again. And so that's not a personal to the people. It's an internal... Right, yeah. If I put my hand in a dog's mouth and it bites me, I'm never putting my hand in a dog's mouth again, type thing. And so, I'm just saying, if you want him to be able to say, hey man, I got all this stuff stressing me out, he's got to feel safe.
I think that is... it's more than a two-way street. I think that both people have to take 100% of ownership in order for that to work. I think that I agree with the fool me once sentiment, but I also know better than to think that that's real in relationships, because humans are just going to fuck up. And you'd be surprised how great a person can be that will bite your hand that first time, that second time, that fourth time. Now, it depends... You're just going to be lonely forever, you know? Like, it just doesn't...
Hey, you got to have a standard somewhere.
I mean, the standard comes in knowing what kind of bite you can take. Like, if it's a life-threatening bite, then no. You know, if it's a little nibble, then it is what it is.
No bite. I'm going to explain it. twice.
You sound like them girls that people be like, girl, shut up.
The only problem is I think it's one thing, like, I have literally, since my relationship ended, I have literally met someone who you would say, hey, I'm not cool with people answering the phone in the car.
Yeah.
And they will never answer the phone in the car because you said that off the rip. And they're interested in seeing where it can go. Whereas, I don't know if you're going to get that same kind of, it's the same kind of energy.
I believe that. Been there, done that. What happens 7 years down the road? Like...
You answering the phone in the car?
Right, like... Circumstances change, people change. There's so many, like... things that happen that you'd be surprised, But outside of that, I think that it is like going back to, I think both people have to take 100% of the responsibility and effort in this, because I think it's to build a healthy and successful relationship to have that level of communication. If you can't get there, it's one of those things like, yeah, there are people that can't stop, like, cheating on their, this is an extreme example, cheating on their significant other. Or not, maybe flirting. Maybe not cheating. Maybe just flirting. They're just flirtatious or whatever. That's not the goal. You might be able to settle for it, but I want people to think, like, if you're not able to communicate, you are settling for that. That's not something that... You can be okay with it. You can have a successful or happy relationship, but you are settling for that. And there's so many ways that we're going to settle in a relationship that's not really a slight, because there are many things that we're going to have to take concessions for. But recognizing that that is less than optimal. Period, point blank. And I don't think that it's on the one. I think that it's on the person to learn to not stop doing something that is good because of the reaction of somebody else. Now, you can always heed what they're doing. So, for instance, I'm an open and honest person, or I try to be. If somebody takes my information and does something with it, I always say, I never share anything that I'm not comfortable with the world having with a stranger, As it gets more intimate, I'll share more, but I have to know when you've crossed that place. But when I share that with you, I know that the same thing can still happen, Like, I'm taking the responsibility. I can't put that on them, because at the end of the day, it is my issue, my thing, So this person, if they don't like me in 3 years, they can share it all. That's it. That's just the risk that I have to take. It's not going to stop me from doing it because that risk is on the table. Because I know at the end of the day, I'm not doing this because of you. I am being open and honest and transparent because otherwise I'm living a lie. I'm not able to be my free self, my full self with the person that I love the most. And I don't want that. It's quite honestly not the bee's knees. Like, I don't want that. I want to be able to be 100% Alexis. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have to tailor it to be kind or whatever, but I want to be able to share my true self with my person. At least the most authentic version of myself that I can muster. So I'm really not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it because otherwise I'm having to pretend. Otherwise I'm having to do what men are doing by, y'all have what y'all want to say in your head, but you have to do all this acrobatics to say it because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. I don't want to live like that. I'm not saying that, again, I'm not saying that we don't have to, adjust some of the things that we say, but having to live in a constant state of somebody else.
You can be in a relationship with a girl then.
No, I think that it's up to both. It's to the benefit of us both to be better than who we are naturally. Like, I know that I do that with guys all the time. Like, I hear that and I try to make it a safe space for you to say what you are feeling. Use whatever type of safe words we need. And I know that I probably haven't gotten to this level the same way. Believe me, guys are not the only ones that are having to tailor things, because every woman will tell you, we know how sensitive guys really are underneath the mask of everything, this cloak of masculinity or whatever. But we understand, we understand egos, we understand different things that are just not worth it, that are within our ability to tailor, and it doesn't take anything out of us to do it. or sometimes it takes a lot of it out of us and we still do it. But I still think that it's beneficial for us to be able to have a fuller view of each other and slowly try to edge to that full openness and full nakedness. Again, never attaining it, but always reaching for it.
Okay.
And like always, agree to fucking disagree. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. It was still insightful.
Definitely.
Still learning that. All right, guys. This conversation was long as hell. I'm hoping that I can fit it all in. I might have to tailor it some, trim it up. But thank you so much for joining us, rocking with us. As always, check me out on social media at is_Alexis. That's ISS_Alexis. No E, no ISS. Or on anywhere you find podcasts at Lex Talk. That's LEXTLK. And Kimoy.
You can find me on all platforms. It's really Kimoy. It's spelled it's really and then KIMOY.
All right. And can't wait to see you guys in another video. All right. Bye. Now I got to brace myself for the next nigga I ask to tell me the truth.
He won't.
No, but so like the guy that I always refer to as my soulmate or whatever, we are so incompatible. It's crazy. But we're really cool. We've gotten that. Like, where because he will tell me things and I'd be like, you should not be comfortable saying this. Not just to me, but to anybody at all. But that's just how he really feels. Mm-hmm. And so I would get tripped up on that. And then, not tripped up where I wouldn't let him express it, but tripped up like, girl, that's a lot. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that? You know, I think I had more of an internal battle than externally with him.
And that's what it is. And that's what it is a lot of times because, and I only refer because it's fresh in my mind. There was a study where a woman pretended to be a guy for 2 years and wrote a book about it. And then 6 months after she wrote the book, committed suicide because of how women treated her.
Oh, really?
Like, she felt like she was treated so bad when she pretended to be a guy for 2 years. Or was it a year? I don't know.
Like, women that thought she was a man? Or,
yeah.
Okay.
Just how, you know, she went from being seen to invisible. And it's just, when you hear and you see things like that, you be like, y'all not trying to hear that this man has been by himself since he was 12. Like, no one ever asked him his name. Cause like, I got people like that in my family, you know what I'm saying? I love them, they my cousins, but they wasn't cool like the rest of us was cool. They wasn't athletic like the rest of us were athletic. So they really was just like that lamp in the corner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that nobody paid any attention to.
But it's different as a man than as a woman?
Yeah, because even if you're that lamp in the corner, as a girl, like, somebody gonna go try and take the top off, because they're gonna be like, God damn, like, ain't nobody. Like I seen a TikTok and it was like, ugly women have babies to prove that someone's sleeping with them. And it's just like, yeah, because somebody is gonna be like, boy, nobody returning my text messages, and I'm gonna show you some attention so that I can get this nut off and then go about my business. But like, for guys who ain't got shit, ain't nobody like, just come home with me tonight. No. Yeah. That's why I be like, when I hear that black, I can hear it, articulate it, and be like, okay, but black male privilege, I be like, what the fuck?
I feel like because pursuit. I mean, I don't think that ugly women have it worse than ugly men in that scenario. But I don't think that. I feel like there is an ugly woman that is not being pursued by anybody
to have a relationship, but somebody's trying to fuck.
No, even that. Like, I feel like there is an ugly woman that is not being fucked.
We see it. Like,
we see ugly men getting girls too. Like,
but they might be ugly, but he got money, or he funny as fuck. He got something where he's that man. He can't just be ugly at nothing and not get nobody and get bitches.
I won't say bitches, but he can get a bitch. Like, these ugly people, like this. I feel like they all going through that same struggle, and they just need to swim in the same pool.
They do, but it's.
I think it's hard because the woman
pools,
needs to be chosen, and then the man needs to do the work. So I feel like they both have their own like struggles on opposite ends of this. Like she's over here waiting for some ugly dude to find her, and having to find a way to put, especially if she's like a recluse herself, you know, like. Let alone all the things like she could be just as fucked up as him, like smell bad, nothing.
You dress fly, like bitches don't care. Oh, that nigga, nah, he fresh. He got a drip.
I mean, I dated an ugly dude for 3 years, so he was nice.
Yeah, he probably treated you amazing.
He did. I feel like you can't be a dick and be ugly and not have nothing. Like that's a lot. That's you asking for a lot.
But see, that's
but a woman
the thing. But that's the thing. It's a lot of not attractive men who would worship the ground these women walk on. They're not trying to talk to them niggas.
No, you need to go and find the ugly woman that has low self-esteem. Go find her.
Right. But the attractive men got thousands of options.
That's just period. That's pretty privileged. Women the same way. Like, and they have terrible personality or can have terrible personalities.
Right. The difference is the men with them thousands of options, they picking a nigga. Them women with thousands of suitors trying to fuck, they can pick a nigga, but if he don't pick back, then he just trying to fuck.
Yeah. I think it's just hard. Period. I mean, I wouldn't want to.
I think if women were just a little bit nicer. Even just a fucking little bit, boy. Because on a scale of 1 to 100, most women mean is like 96. But I said if they brought it down to like an 85, niggas would have married them. But when I tell you, y'all just mean for no reason. That's just my opinion. Y'all just mean for no reason.
I mean, I can't say I don't believe it. I'm not fucking them, so it's not really bothering me as much.
Right.
But, I don't know. It ain't easy. I mean, I don't consider myself the nicest, for sure. I think I'm reasonable, but I know that my meme will come out. Most of the time it comes out when I feel like you're bullshitting me. Like, but I know that I'm not perfect, so I'm sure that it's going to come out when you're not.
You ever seen iCarly?
Mm-mm.
So, there's an actress on iCarly, Sam.
You talking about like the Nickelodeon?
Mm-hmm, yeah. But they're like grown up now.
Yeah.
She was on the Red Table Talk.
Okay.
And there's this clip that goes around and it is so, I don't even know how to, but she goes, men will know nothing about you and treat you like shit. Meaning that's just how they treat people. Mm-hmm. Women will know everything about you. Like all the ins and outs, and treat you like shit. So it's more personal because they know. It's general, and it's just like, that's legitimately how I look at it. I be like, that's why I say don't share. Because you'll tell her, and that's just ammo for a bad day. A nigga, you can tell your nigga all kinds of shit, and he not gonna get mad at you and be like, that's why you a hoe. You fuck 18 niggas. No, because he with you. You know what I'm saying? But she'll get mad at you and know good and well she not going to and be like, that's why you dick little. And it's only to say that to try to get a rise because you had no problem before. And even if you did, we've been together 6 years, so what you really talking about?
Yeah.
You gonna go out in the street and say that, but that's your nigga in 6, 7 years?